All right. Thank you for coming on to this week's Points and Miles report on traveling on everyday spend. A lot of information. I was trying to put things together all the way to the very end of this, and we've got a lot of things to cover, so I'm not going to waste any of your time, and we're going to jump right into it. So I actually had to shuffle things up a little bit for us to look at. And so what we're going to start with is some of the quick notes. Um, Hyatt's Homes and Hideaways, they're doing triple points currently. And for that program, we are looking at it going now through July 6th. Members can earn 3x on private homes, villas, and condos. Now, you don't have to register, so that's a positive. Now, when they say triple, really it is members normally get 5x on every dollar that's spent. You'll get an additional 10x. So it's not an additional 15x, but an additional 10x. Obviously, the range of pricing you're going to see all over the place, but that would be something if you're looking for something like that. The Hyatt Revaluation obviously is coming up next week before we come back on. I give this reminder again, be sure to check the list of locations that are impacted both positively and negatively with this. I will have a link for that list in the description for you to look at. Obviously, if there is anything that you are looking at that is going to start going up, if you can get the reservation in before the 25th, then you get the benefit of what it is now. Obviously, if it's going to go down a class, then you can just wait. But that is coming up. This happens each year. But the great thing about Hyatt is we get this window to figure things out. And so it's definitely something that has benefited me. For the last couple of years, I've been looking at this. So definitely take a look. And then United Premier 1K, they're going to be losing a benefit. They're going to be losing Clear Plus. The 1K members will lose that benefit effective May 1. Now, if they already have that membership, they will continue to have it until the renewal. And then unfortunately, all they will get is a $70 discount on that Clear Plus product. So not a good thing for people that have reached that status. And then let's take a look at the Q2 categories that are coming up. For Chase, we have Amazon and select streaming services, so not anything too exciting, especially if you've already got a Prime card, personal or business, but we'll take what we can get. And then we've got Discover has the grocery store and wholesale clubs. The Citi Dividend is going to have grocery stores, excuse me, and travel booked through Citi Travel. And then US Bank Cash, you get to choose 2 items. The main thing that you're going to be looking at, there's a number of items to look for, but they ended up replacing the rental car option as one of the 2 items. So if that's something you're still looking for, unfortunately, it is gone now. Let's take a look at credit card, actually. Amtrak Guest Rewards MasterCard. Now, this is through First National Bank of Omaha, saying Ohio, of Omaha. Now, they've increased the welcome bonus from 20,000 to 40,000 points, and the offer will expire at the end of April. Now, that will require 2K spend in the first 3 billing cycles. Now, it does have a $99 annual fee, but there is a lot to this card, especially if you're a person that regularly takes Amtrak or is planning for a trip. A couple of the perks, even in the first year that you get the card, you'll end up having complimentary companion coupon, a 1-class upgrade, and a single-day Club Acela pass for each year. So definitely take a look at it. If there's definitely value in it if you are a person that is looking to do Amtrak or consistently does it already. And then Frontier is literally trolling Southwest. Obviously, we know that Southwest has announced that you're not going to get those 2 free checked bags anymore. And so what they are doing is if you purchase a ticket by March 24th, you'll get a free carry-on bag, a free seat assignment, and free flight changes. And this is on all nonstop travel through August the 18th. You just need to use the purchase code FREE. On top of that, what they are doing is you can add a free checked bag to for flights departing May 28th through August 18th, and that promo code is FREEBAG. And I believe that you can end up stacking those from what I've been reading. So if you're looking at Frontier and want to save a bit, that could be a really good option. And then another credit card with the increased bonus, and this is the TAP Miles and Go. It's an American Express card, but it is through Cardless. Now, this is the only co-branded card on the U.S. market for TAP. 50,000 bonus miles and 10,000 status miles after you spend $3,000 in the first 90 days. It does have a $79 annual fee, but it does come with preferred boarding, 2 TAP premium lounge access passes per year at the Lisbon airport, and 2 extra check bags per year. So that if you're looking at TAP and considering it, the card may be the right time for you. Then we have to talk about the Korean Air Skypass credit card. Now, this one has an increased welcome bonus that went from 60 to 70,000 points. It's a $450 card that is offered by US Bank, but you won't easily find it if you went into the US Bank credit cards. I will have a link for this for you to be able to easily get to it if you're interested. This is requiring $5,000 worth of spend in the first 90 days, and then another $1,000 in the first 180 days. Now, this is going to be available through April 30th. The thing to keep in mind for what this can end up doing for you, you'll get 3x on Korean Air flights. You'll get 2 duty-free coupons, which is valued at $25 each. You'll also get a $200 annual travel credit. You'll also get 5% savings for you and a companion 2 times per year. And that is just a few of the items that they end up having on it. But the link that I will refer you to, which will have all of the details of all of the benefits of that card. And then, of course, the Chase Freedom Unlimited is one that has been talked about probably since yesterday. But when I look at Chase, it only showed up for me only within the last hour. So basically what you're looking at is you're going to be getting $250 instead of the normal $200 cash back, I believe, on $500 worth of spend. So that would be one that you can end up looking at. Every little bit helps. Obviously, that card is a bread and butter card for any of your Chase to get that 1.5% on everything that you potentially would do, as well as the drugstore is a nice touch to it as well. Then we've got a couple of new hotels that are going to be part of the World of Hyatt. And these are both in New Orleans, and they're actually side by side. And this is the Maison Metier, I believe it's pronounced, or Metier, and the Barnett. And so they are joining the World of Hyatt. So Maison Metier is a very small boutique hotel, 67 guest rooms. It has a 1 Michelin key hotel status. And as you can probably imagine, the Michelin status is similar to when they do restaurants. So it really refers to the level of service and the quality of the stay that you should expect there. Is going to be part of the Unbound collection. It's going to be a category 6. And so it's going to be a roughly starting cash price of $400, or you're looking between 17,000 and 23,000 points per night on that. The Barnett, which is next to it, is a 234 guest room and suite hotel. It has a large meeting space, so it's one to have different events there. It will join the JDV by Hyatt. It'll be a category 5, starting at $200 a night, and the range for the points for that category, 21 to 29,000 Hyatt points. Then the IHG Business Premier is supposed to have a historic number. I think it's going to tie what it was one time before, 200,000 points. Now, we obviously just got done with with one of the cards obviously having the 140,000. So this is 200,000 points. It is 140,000 points after you spend the first $4,000 on purchases, and then in the first 3 months. Then it will be 60,000 additional points for $9,000 total spend on purchases in the first 6 months. Now, I'm not sure if I saw that yet on when I looked at Chase, but what I can tell you I saw on Chase is about an hour and a half ago, I went on there to kind of do a last check, and what it ended up having was, and now it's down now. It actually marked a line through the 140,000 and had raised it to 170,000 points on that same $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. So what you may want to look at, depending, I mean, the 200,000 points are going to be great. Once again, I don't see it yet on mine, but it should be coming. But you might want to do some incognito looking at it if for some reason that you have a concern that maybe you might not get to the full 200,000 point barrier by spending $9,000 in the first 6 months, and maybe that 170,000 point one for that same $4,000 worth of spend may still be hanging around. So definitely take a look at it. I was shocked to see it, but once again, it did not stay up long. Then we have the Alaska personal card. Now, we've obviously have talked about the personal and the business card having the 70,000 miles and the companion fare with that card as part of the welcome bonus. But now there apparently is a targeted bonus where you sacrifice 10,000 points and get 60,000 points, the companion pass, and you get a 50% flight discount. Now, that's something that is coming in different people's email. So make sure to take a look at it, and then you can make your own decision if you are eligible for that targeted offer, is if the flight bonus savings at 50% is going to be better than doing that getting that 10,000 extra points. So something else to keep in mind. And so let's make sure to jump on here and see where we're at with some of the comments. And want to say hello to Ian. Appreciate you stopping through, sir. And Lonnie, appreciate you stopping through. Start on time every week. How's it going? Doing well. Really appreciate you stopping through. And I see Matt. Didn't see any properties that affect me on the travels, at least this year. Congratulations. Always good that when that Hyatt does not affect certain people. And let's see, Lonnie, the United 1K change is, yeah, good thing I have 2 cards which provide me Clear Plus. Exactly. Really surprising on how some people are, these airlines are kind of handling their best long-term customers on that. Let's see what else. And yep, facts. And Vincent, I appreciate you stopping through, sir. Always good to have you. And let's see, Adam, thanks for stopping in, sir. And yep, and congrats, ever closer. Yep, appreciate it there. And John, always appreciate you stopping through. And as you all, if you all have ever been on my live stream, you all know I've always talked about Matt with the tidbits, John with his YouTube channel, Call Me Lonnie. All of these great guys, each with their own spin on being able to provide you information and news on credit cards. So always definitely promote them. And I'll have links for each of their channels in the description so that you can make sure to be able to take advantage of the content that they are offering. And so now let's move over to topic 1. And so we've obviously touched on some of those newer credit cards that kind of popped up near the end for me. So I kind of threw things in a different direction. So obviously we have the Delta credit cards. Now you have until April 2nd, at least the last time we saw for that. So if you're looking at any of those Delta cards, you've got a little bit of time left to make sure you're making the right choice for you. And then we've got the Hilton. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of time with Hilton because we have all the way till nearly the end of April for you to be able to look at. We've got the Marriott Bonvoy cards with great returns on the welcome bonus at $155,000 and $185,000 on the Brilliant. We do have time on that as well. And there's a lot of things to kind of make sure of how you want to proceed with that, because there may be time for you to potentially, if you really want to go after the welcome bonuses, to be able to get both of them. But you also may want to factor in how you may want to look at Chase with their Marriott cards on that. So the Ritz-Carlton card also has to keep in mind, depending upon what you're looking at. Bank of America, we just talked about the Alaska Airline credit cards, so we still have those. Look and see if you might have that targeted offer in your email. Air France KLM, we've got their credit card that still has the elevated bonus at 70,000 points, miles. We've got the Venture Rewards card, which we've talked about before with that travel credit that kind of brings it above and beyond even the Venture X. But know the differences between the two so that you can make the right choice for yourself. Southwest, we're getting near the end of this being available, and so you're going to want to make sure to keep an eye on it. March 31st is when this ends, and make sure to take a note on that of anything that you might be wanting to look at for that. And then we look at, so I had still had this information as far as the IHG One rewards, because it was supposed to end today at 9 a.m. And as I mentioned, they were still showing things as late for me as 4 o'clock with the same information, at least for the one rewards traveler. But I mentioned what I saw as the difference on the IHG One Rewards Premier, that it was still showing 170. We've got the 2 Visa cards if you're heading down to Disney for the spring or the summer. A $200 statement credit on the no annual fee credit card, a $400 statement credit on the $49 annual fee Premier Visa. We still have the United Business credit cards that have the increased bonuses for those as well. And then Citi, we've talked about them, as well as US Bank, and Wells Fargo still has those One Key cards for you to be able to look at as well. Barclays, we've got the Wyndham cards that are elevated. Now, I have to admit, when I look at Barclays, I don't see all 3 of these listed, although I've seen them talked about a lot. So I'm not sure, I have to admit, I'm not sure if there are links that are referral links that are getting people on certain things to be able to get all of these 3 with the elevated offers. It's still something I'm trying to specifically look at. We've talked about JetBlue and the Premier and the Plus Select, both with 70,000 points, which obviously starts making the JetBlue Plus look a lot better at $99 annual fee. It just may not be that right time for the Premier yet. And so that is what we have for the credit cards. I do want to kind of do a couple of quick announcements. One is that I was fortunate, or we've got Joe Barretto at the Credit Card Connection, Sledge from Sledge Team. They were kind enough to invite me to sit with them on their live stream on Saturday. Obviously, I accepted, so I will be on with them at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on their channels. Encourage you to be able to come through, especially if you've never listened to them. Always great content and always fun to listen to. But I'm looking forward to being able to sit down with them on that. And then number 2 is, if you can find any benefit of the information that we're talking about, please consider liking and subscribing. Trying to work that way to that first 1,000 subscribers, and definitely want to have your support if the content is good and is beneficial to you. So thank you in advance. And so now, as far as transfer bonuses, only a couple of minor changes that we're seeing. So we've got the Marriott card, Amex for Marriott transfer. Now, this is part of the Amex membership week, which I will only slightly touch on because there's not much to talk about, unfortunately. Then we have Qatar with the 20% through the end of March. We've got Marriott for 50% through March 31st on Chase, as well as the Avios cards for Aer Lingus, British Airways, and Iberia for 20%. And then Qatar 20% with Citi. And that we actually just saw Avianca come up with the 25% one within the last couple of days on Citi. That one goes through April 12th of 2025. And then we still do have the Etihad tiered system one. And I mentioned before, had not seen a kind of tiered system like this when it came to transfer bonuses. But if that is something, it's probably a certain use case, but definitely want to make sure that you're aware of it just so that you're not missing out on anything. And let's see. Oh, thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. I know you're coming right along with me. John is trying to get to that first same 1,000 like I am, and we're both in it together on this. One Key hotels are very nice. Yeah, it's really definitely a card that if you are a hotels.com, a Verbo, or Expedia, you definitely have to look at it. I think it's an excellent return for the welcome bonus on it, and with the different perks that they have as far as what status you get on each of those two cards. I completely agree with you, Ian. If you're definitely doing that kind of traveling, that is the way to go. Of course, always give a shout out to everybody. Definitely, you all are definitely worthy of being able to get that. You're getting the Disney card, man. I'm sure he's already got the application in. Now, as far as points and miles opportunities, we always have an immense number of them. I always want to be respectful of your time. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit on the ones that just came up, as well as the ones that are going to be ending soon. And there's links for all of this, as much as the description can handle, with the character count that I will make sure that I have in there. So as far as Accor Live Limitless, we've got a lot of different promotions that are going on. I'll be talking about a subscription plan a little bit later that they have. So Alaska Airlines is kind of the first one. This is the purchase with up to a 50% bonus. This one ran through March 16th, but it just extended it for 1 week to March 23rd. And so 3,000 to 14,000 miles will get you 30%. 15 to 29,000 miles will get you 40%, and then 30,000 and above will get you 50%. There is a 150,000 mile cap per year for non-elites, and then no limit for elites. So if you thought you might have missed out on that, you might want to take another look. You got 1 more week left. But once again, this is not an historic number. But if you just need to, if you have to kind of cover some points or miles that you need, might be a good spot for you. And then Avianca just announced a 25% award discount on their economy class. Now you do have to book by March 26th. Travel is between March 20th and then May 31st. And then of course, if you are a card holder of that co-branded card with Avianca, you'll get an additional 5%. So those points can definitely add up. And then Choice Hotels, we've got a 50% bonus points on this. Now, I ended up getting different numbers. As I always tell you, I'm the worst person. If it's not a fixed opportunity, I always will get the worst one. So this one, I've seen it advertised talking about starting at 6,000 plus points for 50%. Mine showed up as 12,000. So I had to there's more that I have to do. But Choice Hotels are pretty versatile. Maximum purchase is 180,000 for that. So that may be something to look at if you're looking at what Choice may be able to do for you. And then we've obviously dealt with the Emirates ones. We talked about Frontier a bit earlier as far as them trolling Southwest. So that we've covered. Now they do have a buy one, get one companion pass deal. Now, this is for Frontier Discount Den members. So Discount Den is an annual membership that is $99 for the first year with different perks and such, definitely for the dedicated Frontier flyer. Now, if you are part of the Den and you're considering this, the companion will pay taxes and fees, and that normally starts at $18.90. You do have to book by 11:59 on March 24th. Of course, it's for select routes and days because there's always a lot of blackouts and restrictions. Promo code is fly free. Couple of things, you must book it online and it has to be at least 7 days in advance. Hyatt, I throw this out because once again, you got 1 week left. If you needed to get points, obviously you can deal with transfers on Chase and you can do it with Bilt. But if you did need to look at buying any points for any reason, you've still got that 25% discount up to a maximum purchase of 55,000 points that is available to you. IHG recently showed a 100% bonus when buying points. Expires March 29th. And it's very simple. As long as you purchase 5,000 points or more, you get the 100% bonus. You can purchase up to 200,000 points before the 100% bonus. So that would get you 400,000 IHG points for $2,000 if you were maxing it out. You may see bonuses of 80 or 90%, and you may see a 300,000 point limit. Just depends on where you might be able to see where your situation comes up to. And then we've got Hawaiian, up to 50% bonus when you're purchasing miles. Now that sale will run through March 23rd. 3,000 to 9,000 miles is 30%, 10 to 19,000 miles is 40%, and 20,000 to 100,000 miles, 50%. Obviously, the cent per mile is not great, but as we always talk about, those are just kind of the foundation baseline. You will determine if any purchase or transfer or redemption is the right one for you, though. JetBlue has up to 120% bonus. This one you can book all the way through April 20th. It does appear to be targeted, so not everyone will see 120%. But if you do, it's 3,000 or more points at 120%, which would be 1.47 cents per mile. Frontier, the Go Wild, all you can fly. We talked about this as far as the different passes. So Frontier has a lot of things going on. Make sure if you're considering flying with them or doing extensive flying, of which one of these might fit for you. And then we've got, let's see, these are United, up to a 50% on miles purchases. You do have to complete them by March 29th. 5,000 to 29,000 miles is 30%. 30,000 to 69,000 miles is 40%. And then 70,000 all the way to 200,000 is 50%. And so if you did max it out, 200,000 United miles would be $3,500. Wyndham has their mystery bonus promotion going on. It's up to 80%. Of course, as I always tell you how I am, the 50% is what I saw. I was only eligible for 50%. This is when buying points through April 15th. The annual 100,000 point purchase limit has been increased for this particular promotion up to 200,000 points. And so up to 360,000 for platinum and diamond members. Hilton, buy points with up to a 90% bonus. That'll put, if you do get that, that would be 0.53 cents per point. In this case, the cap is normally 80,000 per year, but this promotion will let you get 240,000 points. For me, unfortunately, again, I had 80% with 160,000 point cap. So, but that 90% for most people, other than me, would get 3,000 points, and anything above that will get you that 90% bonus. And then lastly, we've got Copa Airlines with up to 60% on miles purchased. This ends April 18th. This is one that is not breaking the bank. We've talked about Copa a few times over the last few months, getting up to 60%, and that's between 20 and 100,000 miles, 1.88 cents per mile. One of the best deals for that, if you were dealing with Copa, is if you were flying from the U.S. to Panama, 17,500 in economy, 30,000 in business. But it can also be used as far as a transfer miles on Star Alliance that can be able to get you a few other places. But those are the main things that you would be looking at there. And so let's talk about um, the US Bank Shield card. Now, this is a new card that kind of came out that really has a very specific purpose, and one that I was a little surprised to see come from US Bank just because of how I view them as pretty conservative on how they do business. But the US Bank Shield card um, has no annual fee. It has a 4% cash back on prepaid air, hotel, and car reservations when you book them directly through the US Bank Reward Center. You do get a $20 annual credit for 11 consecutive months of making purchases. So they obviously are trying to do something to make sure that you can try to use it for something other than what we're going to talk about is really the only reason to get that US Bank Shield card. You get secondary collision damage waiver. You'll get up to $600 in cell phone protection, and you'll get extended warranty protection on items for 1 year on items of 3 years or less. But really what you're doing this for, and of course, purchase security, theft, fire, vandalism within the first 90 days. But really the claim to fame for this card is 0% on purchases and balance transfers for the first 24 billing cycles. That's the longest I've seen. I think we've seen 21 months with one of the Citibank credit cards. Now, now balance transfer cards are ones that, if used properly, can help you if you are a little over on your numbers, to be able to kind of clean things up a bit. And 24 months is outstanding to be able to do that. I don't think that it doesn't look like this is going to be the permanent type of setup. It might be more of an introductory. So if you are even considering a balance transfer card and been looking, this may be the one for you. And if the timing is right, not to rush you into anything, but if you're interested in doing something like that, this may be one to look at. But I wouldn't necessarily wait too long, because we don't know if that's really going to be one that's going to be there for you the entire time. And so now we have the Bilt new rent payment platform. Now, obviously, on the surface, it's like, what's the big deal about it? But hopefully is a step to where some of us want them to go. And so what this is they're preparing for this new rent payment platform. Now, what this is supposed to represent is a significant step for them to get to the mortgage payments by adding more security. At least that's the expectation of one of these things. Now, if you are already a renter with Bilt and your apartment complex is part of the Bilt Alliance properties, this really doesn't have any impact for you. But if you're not, and there's still a lot of people that aren't really in part of that alliance, your Bilt Rewards account is going to expire April 29th. And then it will switch to what they call Bill Pay by Bilt. You will receive a new Bilt routing and account numbers. Now, you will need to pre-authorize each payment rather than the current method, which is basically a post-payment text verification. Now, obviously, that can be annoying, but as I was messing around with logging into different airline programs, I was doing so much two-step verifications and duos and triple steps that this almost seems benign when it's all talked about. Now, you can be able to do this pre-authorization up to 5 days before you pay your rent. So build it in, put an alarm for it. It's a bit of a nuisance, I can imagine, but think about it in the grand scheme of things, of everything else you deal with in this world, if it's really that big of a deal. And I'm selfishly saying that I'm glad I'm seeing something that hopefully is moving them closer to them doing mortgages by the end of the year. So that is the hope for that. And let's see, Israel popping in. Appreciate him stopping in. Always good Good to have him in. I see Sledge, as of course I'm starting to be like Sledge about being behind on making sure to check in. Sledge, appreciate you coming in. Definitely already mentioned about the kindness of you and Joe to invite me on. Look forward to chopping things up with you all on Saturday. Thank you so much. And like I said, I'll make sure to have links for all these great creators in the description for you to be able to look at if you haven't, for some reason, been able to check them out. And then let's touch a little bit on Capital One Miles. So there's an opportunity for sporting events. Now, I mentioned the NCAA March Madness. That's already started. So now these tickets that are going to be available, which probably are mostly almost gone at this point, for the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, and then for men's and women's. Men are in San Antonio this year. The women are in Tampa. But if you are a March Madness person and want to spend some miles, there may be still some opportunities for you. MLB opening day, rates are starting at 2,500 miles. Capital One is known to have good seats within those stadiums. I've not gone to one yet. This is just from what I've been reading, from what a lot of reviews that people have done about going to MLB. PGA golf, if you're a golfer and you got a lot of miles, there's a couple of interesting ones that I ended up seeing as far as available events. Now, the first one is at Royal Portrush. I think that's how it's pronounced. Now, this is in May 14th through the 16th. This is in Northern Ireland. You get to be hanging out with Sir Nick Faldo. You get photos of the Clare Jug, a chance to play the course with him. Rates start at 125,000 miles per person. You also have the 153rd Open Championship that's in July. 2 days with a hospitality in the Patrons Pavilion that overlooks the 18th hole, as well as a litany of other things. The rates start for that at 406,250 miles per person. So we see that a lot of hotels and entities are really allowing you to use their miles or their points to be able to have different experiences. We've seen this with Hilton, and we've seen it with others. So this is Capital One's spin on this. And let's see. Yep, Sledge there. And yep, Saturday is good. It's going to be a blast. I do look forward to it. Really can't thank y'all enough for inviting me on. I look forward to it. And then we've got Wyndham. So we've talked about the Wyndham month that's been going on, member month. We are now in week 3. And so for week 3, we have an up to 80% bonus when buying points, 70% if it's blue and gold, minimum 3,000 points. Transaction must be done by April 1st. They also are, in this case, they are having you being able to use points for minor league baseball. 2 tickets for 2,000 points was 2,500 points. So pretty good bargain depending. And once again, good seating within even the minor league stadiums. You still can be able to deal with week 1 and week 2. So we've talked about that before. I'll have a link for the landing page for you to be able to determine if any of these things work for you. Definitely make sure that you are putting your bid in for the member month sweepstakes to get your entry in. Grand prizes, they've got 5 of them. They've got first prizes of additional points. So look for that as different options. But that's your week 3 options for Wyndham. So there's a lot of things that you can be able to look at. And so timeshare promos, I used to be kind of touchy about even talking about these. I'm a person that's a bit scarred possibly scarred for life. I was out in Vegas years ago, and my wife ended up hitting for some money on a slot, and we said, oh, we'll just go take a look at a timeshare, get some free stuff out of it. Unfortunately, I didn't have the mentality back then to say no, got the timeshare out in Vegas, and literally before I ended up giving it up, I never stepped foot in that timeshare. My wife did and my parents did as they took a trip while I was unable to go. But If you are that type of person, and if you have a wife or husband or whatever, and they are going to be part of it with you, and if you all have the ability to just shrug it off and say no thank you, there are a few really good deals that can really get you a nice trip involved for this, and we have it with Hilton, Wyndham, as well as IHG. And I'll have links for each of the landing pages with all of the details and all of the different terms and conditions so you can see if it is something you're interested in. So Hilton, they are doing locations at Las Vegas for 3 nights at $149, Southern California $299 for 3 nights, Kauai in Hawaii for $649 for 3 nights, Waikolo, I think it's pronounced, $649 for 5 nights, Maui $1399 for 4 nights. Plus, you'll get, in addition to that, you'll get 15,000 Hawaiian miles. You do have to sit through a 2-hour presentation, but you're obviously under no responsibility to do anything but sit and then leave. Wyndham is also doing 3 nights on a 4-day, 3-night stay. They're going to give you 60,000 Wyndham rewards points on top of that. And a few of the locations, Austin, Branson, Destin, Florida, DC, Myrtle Beach, and New York City are a bit elevated. The other ones are $249. Those two are $349. There's actually supposed to be 13 locations, but when you go to the landing page, it's a scrolling across the page, but they only show those ones that I just mentioned. So I'm unsure what the other ones are. That'll be something you'd have to find out if you're interested and reach out to them. That one also has the 2-hour presentation. Then IHG has their 3-night starting at $199, and they'll throw in 10,000 IHG points. Branson, Cape Canaveral, Gatlinburg, Galveston, Las Vegas, Myrtle Beach, Orlando, Scottsdale, Williamsburg, and once again, as you imagine, 2-hour timeshare presentation. Like I said, I will put all those links in there, but if, once again, free trips can be good as long as you're okay with sitting through those 2 hours first, though. And then I'd like to try to touch on some new hotel openings to see so that you know with your points and miles that you're earning of what you might want to be able to do with some of these newer locations that are opening. So let's touch on 3 of them. The first one is the Waldorf Astoria London. Now, we talked about this one probably a month or 2 ago, and this is at the Admiralty Arch, which is one of the most iconic landmarks in London. It's located at the end of the mall, and it goes all the way back to King Edward VII in memory of Queen Victoria. It is, I can't wait to see what that looks like. That arch is it's just amazing to look at that they ended up making it in a hotel. Only 100 rooms and suites. There'll be a rooftop terrace on the 6th floor. It's going to be opening in 2026. Then you have Saks Paris. Now, this was a Hilton LXR location. Reservations are now already going on for stays beginning as of June 15th of 2025. There are 118 rooms and suites. It'll have a library, bar, Japanese restaurant, and a rooftop bar. It's one of the few luxury hotels in Paris that you can get on points from what I'm reading. Now, this is starting at $560 a night or 95,000 Hilton points. Once again, that is just the starting number, though. Then, while this is not necessarily a hotel, it is lodging to a certain extent. And this is Auto Camp, and this is one of those ones that we talked about since last year that Hilton ended up becoming a partner with. And this one is a new location opening up at the Sequoia National Park in California. It opened earlier this week on March 15th. $260 per night. That Hilton points will be anywhere from 131,000 to 185,000 points. If you're a member, you'll get 10x on per dollar that you spend. And as far as depending upon what tier you're at, if you're silver, you get 2 eco-friendly waters. If you are gold, you'll get those waters plus a bundle of firewood, for the stay there, as well as a potential space available upgrade. And then if you're diamond, they will throw you in a s'mores kit. In addition to that, this is just a version of glamping, going out camping, but with some really nice touches to it. So if you're a person like myself, that's not necessarily the biggest person on camping, I might be willing to consider to do that. And so if you are, I'll be curious if you've already done that or what your thoughts are about glamping with AutoCamp. And so let's see here, make sure I'm all caught up. And uh, thank you so much, Israel. Really appreciate the $2. Can't thank you enough. Really appreciate it. And so now let's look at the Accor Live Limitless. Now, this is a subscription program that they have. They have a signature subscription, and there's a sale going on. This may not be for everybody, but I wanted to bring it to your attention because there could be some real value for some people on this. So there's 4 different levels of this that are offered, and it can be up to 19% discount on their annual plan. They have an essential plan that's getting the 19%, Discover 16%, Explorer 14%, and the Absolute, which is their highest tier at 9%. The discount is good through March 21st, so that is ending shortly. You do have to use the coupon code Consumador 2025. Now, I'm going to just highlight just for you. Now, I will have a link for their landing page so that you can make a full comparison of this to see if this is something that would be interesting for you. But I'm going to highlight what seems to be the best value, which is the Absolute plan. It's $1,065 for the year. What you'll get is you get 5,000 monthly reward points. You get 5,000 bonus reward points every 4 months. You also get 1,000 monthly status points. You'll get extra 10% points on partner transfers, but that applies to all 4 of the levels. You'll get waived point expiration, which also applies to all 4 categories. You get to transfer points to friends and family, and that is only for the top 2 categories of Explorer and Absolute. You'll get the executive lounge access on the Pullman. That's only for the top 2 categories. And you'll get exclusive experiences in selected hotels, and that only applies to the Absolute level. You get essentially in 12 months 75,000 points of Accor Live Limitless points. People normally I've seen it evaluated at 2.2 cents per point. That would give you a value of $1,650 when you have a cost at $1,065. So if you are a person that ends up liking Accor Live Limitless and you're traveling abroad and you do it with some consistency, this may be something that you might want to consider. So that's kind of what we have for all of that to be able to look at. I want to make sure that if there's any thoughts or questions or anything that we did not cover on this, and I see that Chad popped in. I think Chad is going to hopefully be able to sit in on Saturday. Looking forward to chopping it up with him as well, and look forward to seeing you, sir. Yet another person. Really, if you want to look at somebody that all of the people I've talked about have their different spin on things, and Chad definitely has his with his perspectives. So I'll make sure to have his link for his channel in the description as well. But that's the information that we've got for today. And I once again want to thank Israel for taking the time to with the super chat of $2. Can't thank you enough. And once again, consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to be more of a part of things, I do have a membership of the advisory board. Main things that I try to do to provide value for your membership, which can be canceled at any time, is basically get you out the videos that I do 24 hours ahead of time in a weekly live stream chat where we'll basically kind of get from behind for me getting from behind these PowerPoint slides that I do on these things and just chat, talk, and make sure of what's going on with you, seeing if there are anything that I can help to kind of work through any difficulties and try to share in the successes that you have. So cannot thank you enough on that. And Chad, thank you. Really appreciate it. For you chipping in too, and yes, if you found a benefit like the stream, it definitely helps with it getting out there to more people for that. So I can't thank you enough for that. And that's right. Yep. Thank you. So can't thank you all enough for all of y'all's time tonight. Look forward to seeing it. And once again, Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joe from the Credit Card Connection, Sledge from Sledge Team Inc., Chad from Chad Money Minutes, and myself chopping it up for a bit on a Saturday afternoon live stream. Really looking forward to it and hope you all join us there as well. Should be a great time, and can't thank you all enough tonight. And I look forward to talking with you soon. And everybody take care and have a great day.